Jade.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Rugby Pod. We're waiting for the Griffmeister, and I think he's probably taking the beating from the Sharks this weekend quite heavily, hence the delay. But yeah, without further ado, I'm with Jade Craig. After a massive lunch, apparently you are a man of plenty of trades, right? A cook, a chef, and one who knows how to down a bottle of Avanti. Kidding.
No. It's not gonna be.
It's summertime in South Africa. It's wintertime over in the Northern Hemisphere. How is the weather? The weatherman.
Yo, it's heating up here, bro. It's heating up. It's getting warm. It's getting those wife beaters out. Starting to do more bicep curls in the gym now. So yeah, we get becoming that time now. That time of the year, you know.
2 kilogram.
Come on.
It's getting cold, man. It's windy. We had a storm on Friday, I think Thursday and Friday last week. Some planes couldn't land. It was a messy affair in the Netherlands. So yeah, it's getting cold. It's been raining 2 days nonstop. So you can imagine, gloomy, dark, quite early. So I mean, I'm sure the sun is about to set anytime, any moment now.
Scoop, why weren't you in South Africa today? Why didn't you play in the game today? The Cheetahs legends against the Bulls legends.
Wait, man, what is this?
Yeah, they had a game today. Cheetahs legends against the Bulls legends. So,
by the way, Hugh was making fun of you last week, by the way, Jade.
I heard he was making fun. I heard about it. That's why he scored his lost against the shots. But yeah, I was just wondering why didn't you play today? Because only Cheetahs boys actually played.
No.
Don't they have parts for your body anymore? Don't they make the spots?
Oh man, no ways. I don't think my body can take hits anymore. Oh, it's impossible. Man, that Sunday, waking up after a heavy Saturday, forget about it. Griffin, the stats man, how's it going over there in the UK?
It's good. I don't remember what I made fun of Jay for. I don't remember, but as Jay told everybody what he won in the raffle the other day.
No, what happened?
Jay, you got to tell us, what did you win? Your prize.
Yes, you're right.
No. I'm keeping quiet on that one.
Oh, geez, come on. You don't have to be quiet about this. Anyway, we've got Hugh Griffin, we've got Jade Craig, and how we're going to do this, as usual, guys, news making headlines. So here we are hitting it guns blazing. We're not holding anything back. Jan-Hendrik Wessels was reportedly, has been given a 9-week suspension for an act of foul play despite having lack of video evidence. Hugh Griffin, your thoughts on this? We also want to touch on the Mapimpi one as well. What is your thoughts on this? And then Jade, you can jump in after him.
Look, it's an unpleasant one. Obviously, there's a lot of online, so I'm going to keep it short. But there's two kind of sides to this. Why would the Connacht guy strike him? That Connacht player is reacting to something 100%. Something has happened, but we haven't seen what it is that has happened, and there is no, like you said, there's no evidence suggesting what has happened. So like I said, clearly the Connacht player is reacting to something and something has happened. However, we can't see what that thing is, which makes the disciplinary process, to me, very complicated.
Yeah. Jade, your thoughts?
Yeah, Scoop, you know what? I mean, if you can't prove it, and you can't see it, we have to go on, believing the story and the evidence from the Connacht player, like you said. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, you can't find anything on camera. So obviously you have to look at the reason for the Connacht player getting upset, you know. I mean, how many biting incidents has been missed previously, but then we've seen the reaction, you know, from the opposition or something to that effect. But I mean, where are we going to go to? The Connacht player going to, you know, pull his pants down, or how are we going to see this evidence? No, I'm just asking, how are we going to see the copy it up on TV? But I mean, to somebody to make a claim like that, you know, and I mean, if I was anybody from the Connacht team, you know, and my player falsely accused somebody and they end up copying a 9-week ban, I'd really be hard on that player, you know. So I don't think there was any lies or anything there. I think he did do it, but because they couldn't pick it up, you know, the Bulls do have a strong case. However, we have to believe the Connacht player at the moment. I mean, who would want to make up something like that, you know?
Yeah. And also,
Sorry, I think that Jade makes a good point, is that biting is a great example. I have seen loads of accusations of biting made by players during games. I remember George North walking over to the referee and showing him a bite mark on his arm, and nothing ever came of it. So, you know, that's what's kind of different in this case. In previous cases, we've seen players make accusations and it not be followed up. You know, I'm tempted to mention like the Bongi Manabi Ben Curry thing, although you can hear it was picked up on the referee's mic when Manabi saying something. Of course, we have a translation of what we think that he actually did say, but we have lots of examples of accusations being made and nothing happening. So this is kind of the first time that I can recall it's there being a ban handed out on just a player's say so. But I also agree with Jade. Why would the Connacht player make something up other than to explain why he's tried to hit the guy? But then why would he have tried to hit the guy? This isn't a Connacht player who goes around hitting people every week. Yeah. So, yeah.
No, fair. You guys make valid points with this particular topic. Looking at Kolis's behavior, I would say that on a balance of probabilities, Tane Plumtree must have said or grabbed something when him and
they posted a picture smiling after the game. So.
Fair enough. Now tapping onto the Mapimpi one. Maybe Jade, I'll start off with you on this one because I also tagged Nigel. Right? We know Mapimpi has been red carded or has been given a ban for eye gouging, cited by the match commissioner post-match, cited for eye gouging 2 times in a row, not back-to-back, obviously. I think it was a season apart. But nonetheless, he's copped red cards. He's been banned for 3 to 4 weeks. But this one was more of a tackle, right? A dangerous tackle. So when we see head contact in a match, head-on-head contact in a tackle situation, a player gets taken to tackle school, or he has to go to tackle school, and when they go to tackle school, they get weeks shaved off from their ban. So my question, logically speaking, wouldn't that be a right way to go about this ban for Mapimpi as well, Jade? Whereby, yes, because it's foul play, yes, because it's a tackle, so why can't he go to tackle school?
Yeah, Scoop, you know, you make a fair point there in terms of the tackle school and what's become a standard, you know, in recent years. I mean, it's been, 3 weeks and then something shaved down to 2 because of tackle school.
Yeah.
However, I mean, what is the jurisdiction? What is the law states regarding discipline overall? Because we're looking at the whole area and everything overall, it's a discipline issue. So if Mapimpi, for example, has now copped it's now in the past 3 years, he's copped 2 yellow cards already. Two red cards already. Yeah. 2 reds already, and now he's copping another one. So surely you have to look at the whole, under what this jurisdiction falls. It falls under, discipline.
Yeah.
And I mean, if it's a high tackle, if it's a spear tackle, if it's a punch, it all falls under discipline. So maybe they're looking at that aspect as well. Okay, fair enough, fine. Maybe they see as a repeated offender, might not be in the same instance, but I mean, in terms of red cards, I mean, it's now his 3rd red card in 4 years, something like that.
Jeepers.
So for me, Scoop, I just want to see consistency in terms of it, you know. I'm not saying that, yeah, he's a dirty player. I'm not saying that, he's a troublemaker or something to that effect. But if they're going to do this, it has to be a consistent way that they're going forward. So if, for example, a Jasper Visser picks up another red card soon, he got 6 weeks. So are we going to look at Jasper Visser because he got 6 weeks in 2025? Are we going to look at giving him another 6 weeks or 8 weeks because, it's his second red card in 24 months, Maybe they're looking at something like that. Obviously, you have to take responsibility in the context situation. You as a tackler, I mean, they put it on. And I mean, we've seen guys getting red cards in World Cup finals for, a collision. So if you're gonna get a red card, if you're gonna get a red card and stuff like that, there is circumstances. But for me, it's harsh in terms of 5 weeks. We're looking at it in an isolated case of. It was, a collision or it was a tackle situation. But if you look in the overall discipline of the player, maybe they're looking at that aspect and saying, okay, 5 weeks because he's been a repeated offender in terms of discipline. Maybe they're looking at it like that.
Fair. Hugh?
Yeah, Scoop, as a referee, can you just talk us through what Mapimpi has done wrong here? Because, it's not a high tackle, it's not a spear tackle. When you talk about players being lifted in the tackle and dropped, you could say, it's a spear tackle. It's not a spear tackle.
Yeah.
So he's he's hit him. There's obviously a big size discrepancy between the two guys. And he's kind of lifted him and dropped him. And then there's a
dangerously.
Call to be made.
I think the what they're looking at is the dangerous landing, because you as a tackler have the responsibility to make a clean, legal tackle. But at the same time, it has to. The player has to land. If you end up lifting a player, you make sure that they have to land safely. And with that tackle, Mapimpi hits the player, grabs him by the legs while driving forward with the shoulder. So now he's kind of tipping him towards his back, but he lands on the dangerous area. Anything on shoulder and neck is regarded as dangerous, and then the head, obviously, we all know. That's also regarded as dangerous. So anything that is it's not even borderline in this case. He lands in a dangerous way. He lands on his neck or upper back, if you prefer, but it's still a very dangerous act. So he is responsible actually for bringing that player down safely. So on a safety aspect, high degree of danger, I think we'll all take yes. Right? And then once we go high degree of danger, then we're not even looking at a yellow card. We started looking at a red. So if it's low degree of danger, then we start looking at a yellow card perspective. But high degree of danger, why? Because he lands on his neck, which is highly dangerous. And obviously the player or the tackler didn't responsibly bring the player down safely in that case. So that's how they kind of probably looked at it, because you have to look at high degree or low degree of danger in those situations to kind of you kind of give a red or you mitigate down to a yellow.
Yeah.
Or just a penalty.
Thanks. Appreciate explaining this, because it's not like it's not a simple one, but I think it kind of with the disciplinary, going back to what we were saying about the length of the ban, because I think it's it was the entry points of 6 weeks, but then we've seen with the mitigation of rugby that the entry point for any red card is 6 weeks, but then people say yes, they admit it, they get like a character reference from their dad, they get like a time off for good behaviour, they go to tackle school and things, but what that means is in like percentage terms. You go in at 6 weeks, and some people are getting mitigated down to 2, and some are getting it not mitigated.
Yeah, there was an Irish guy last year, or Six Nations, I think. I forgot the name. It was a high tackle, man. I don't think it's Ringrose. Who is it? Henshaw, the other 12 or 13 for Ireland, and he also made a headshot, but because he admitted, and also he went to tackle school. Yeah, man, it went down to like 2 weeks or something like that. And I think Ireland was supposed to play France, if I'm not mistaken. I've probably got my dates mixed up or something. But there was a player he almost got like a week, 4 or 5 weeks taken off, and he only was suspended for 1 week or 2. I'm not sure, but I'll check it out as well. There was something along those lines, though. Jade, you wanted to share something as well?
Yes, Scoop, you know what? Touching on this Mapimpi situation, I mean, he's got now 5 weeks. I think this was his first week. So, to be killing for this guy and I'll be gutted for him, if we don't see him again in the box jersey. I think, I honestly think he deserves a send off, for everything that he's done, in that box jersey and stuff like that. Because let's be realistic, for Mapimpi to be a part of the squad next year and going to the World Cup, his chances is very, very slim with the opposition. And I mean, especially with Ethan Hooker, playing, and he's basically leapfrog Mapimpi in that squad, and you have Curtly Arons coming back. So for me, it would just be sad, if Mapimpi doesn't get that send off and that farewell in that box jersey that he actually deserves.
Isn't he short like 1 or 2 caps to make 50 caps or something?
I think he's 1 cap short, 1 or 2 caps too short to make 50. I mean, it would be nice for him to get, it would be nice for him to get in Japan and the Wales, something like that, just to get it.
Bring Zimbabwe, man. Springboks versus Zimbabwe, get his 50th cap. And we call it a day. I'm kidding. Yeah, we've got a lot to cover, guys, so we need to move on swiftly a bit. Hugh Gregor Townsend has defended his decision to take a part-time role, rather, as an advisor for the Newcastle Red Bulls. I mean, is this allowed as a national coach, or is he doing an Eddie Jones, basically? Eddie Jones coaching the national Japanese team, and then is an anchor on BBC or one of the TV, is it ITV, I think, one of those studios in the UK. But I mean, Gregor Townsend going to England now and assisting an advisory role, this doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it seems to be allowed. I think when Eddie Jones was England coach, he was still an advisor to Japanese rugby.
Yeah.
So it seems to be a thing that you are allowed to do. I mean, let's be honest, if you're an international coach, you must have a lot of free time. Like you
shouldn't.
10,
Should you?
Well, they do, I guess. If it's not clashing, I don't necessarily see a conflict of interests there. What is he even actually doing for Newcastle? So, yeah.
I mean, Scotland needs an advisor on its own, right?
And maybe it's something as well of there used to be, obviously, Townsend's been in his position a long time, and you need to give people an opportunity to kind of progress and develop and stuff. And maybe this is kind of a way of the Scottish Rugby Union to give him, a chance to freshen up, almost, giving him a new challenge, because he's been doing the same job for a long time. For anybody in any career, that can be stale.
Fair. Jade, Peter Aki is going back home, my friend. The Toulouse midfielder will leave France for Auckland. He's been there for what now? 9 years, 8 years. So he'll be joining his old club, the Auckland Blues. Jade, what do you think of Aki? Because he came through in an era where, the 12th jersey or 13th jersey was kind of stacked. Back in those days, you had Ma'anonu, you had Conrad Smith, you had Richard Kahui, you had Rene Ranger, you had there's a few names I'm forgetting now as well. But still, I mean, he was also in the All Black conversation at one point, but then injuries, he couldn't really find a spot for himself in that New Zealand side. But what are your thoughts of him coming to join New Zealand? I mean, he's razzle-dazzled in top 14 for quite some time now. He's won championships. So, he's coming back with a wealth of knowledge, having experienced a lot of rugby here in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, Scoop, I mean, I can't really remember him really knocking on the door for All Black selection. I can't really, because, I mean, it's been difficult. I mean, he struggled. He struggled to get into the Blues team at the time as well. Because I remember they had Francis Sahili and Rene Ranger. They've got a few competent 12s. And I mean, my biggest memory for him down under was playing in the sevens for the New Zealand Sevens. That's where he really made his name. And then he made the right move, the bold move, going to Toulouse, and it worked out for him. He's a legend. He got on as a legend at Toulouse. He's won everything, and he's been brilliant. So for the thing that he adds now to that Blues team, now experience. I mean, they lost Rico Ioni, He's gone to Leinster. There's another centre that also left, this year. So, I mean, the likes of what's this guy? AJ Lamb and all of them. They'll really reap off all these experience. Wow, he's an out and out centre.
Yeah.
And I think the Blues,
Need that.
they'll need that, and also the Blues game plan will suit him.
Yeah.
It really suit him. He'll be that extra runner going on. So I think that's a good decision for him, a good move for him. I think he'll really add experience to that young Blues team. I mean, there's a lot of youngsters in the Blues setup coming through there next year, especially in the backline. So it add valuable experience.
Yeah, Hugh.
Just wanted to throw in that before he went to Toulouse, he went to Connacht, and he was part of an Aki centre.
No way.
Yeah, him and Bundy Aki, same centres.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Another one, that we've got two more headliners, and then we jump into the URC. Plenty to talk about there. Definitely lots to talk about there. And then we talk about predictions going into the first week of the autumn series, the end of the year tour. Oh, it's going to be blitz. It's going to be far. TLC, tables, ladders, and chairs. And next one, Jade. All Black coach Holland has left Razor stable. I mean, what are your thoughts regarding this? That's a second coach now who's left. I know a lot of people are talking about, what's happening in New Zealand. I mean, I also make the point of, remember when Rassie started, Franco Smith was there, he left. Swayze de Brain was there, he left. There's been so many people that have left, and there's been so many people that have come in. I think any coach that's probably in his first two or three seasons working with people at this level, especially in an all-black environment, high pressure, I mean, heads are about to roll when the results don't come, right? But anyway, Jade, your thoughts on this, and then Hugh, you can jump in as well.
Yeah, Scoop. You know what? I'm not thinking of this whole Jason Holland situation. And we can look at it both ways. We can look at it from the aspect it's been him and Leon McDonald that did. So really everybody's not too happy with what's going on with Razor and is Razor control freak. Does Razor really get along working with, X, Y, and Z? And you can also look at it from the aspect of that backline being flat. Everybody's been complaining about their shape, the flare, the attacking shape of that all black backline. I mean, you could also look at it from that aspect. So I think we just need to respect that it's been 2 years. All of the assistant coaches got 2 years, and that's when New Zealand Rugby looked at their position, and sometimes they would say, let's move on, or we're going to extend for another 2 years. Razor was the only one that got 4 years. So he's the only one that got from World Cup to World Cup. And the rest of them is 2 years. And in the New Zealand Rugby Union will decide, are we going to keep you on, or if you're happy with terms, you're going to stay on, or else we're going to end our agreement with you. So we can look at it from that aspect. The exciting thing for New Zealand Rugby is now they can really go and get somebody else to come in as an assistant coach and as a backline coach. I mean, there's a lot of guys available. So lots of Wayne Smith. I mean, you mentioned David Rennie, Tony Close, who's actually more of a forwards coach, but I mean, you can go right around, there's quite a lot of backline coaches that will come in and really assist this team. So it's whether or not, Razor's open to having somebody there in his backline is going to challenge him, it's going to bring in a new, come into the environment, freshen up that environment. Is Razor going to do that? Or, what's going to happen in that aspect? Will Wayne Smith work with the team? So you look at it from all of those aspects. I think for New Zealand Rugby now, if they are going to make any changes with their coaches, now would be the right time. And that would be background stuff. Now would be the right time to make those changes, and rather later on as we get into the World Cup. So yeah, Scoop, you can say, like I said, you can say, yes, now McDonald and Holland, what's going on in camp. Everything's not just all roses in camp, but then you can also look at it from the aspect of the backline has been flat, they've been underperforming, they've been underfiring. So maybe change is good, But yeah, like I said, New Zealand Rugby do give their assistant coaches 2 year contracts instead of 4. It does give them the opportunity to evaluate the situation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, also they've got selectors that come and assist as well. They probably have a lot of input when it comes to assessing also how that backline has been performing the past two seasons already. I mean, yeah, they have been flat. There hasn't been much spark that people are looking for. You know, they haven't had bolters that have really dazzled the world and obviously gave that All Black backline ascendancy going forward. They've got worlds of experience, but still, yet they struggle to come up with a good shape on attack. So, which is something that has been lacking from their side. They really need someone who's going to be very creative, somebody who's going to be very strict, I guess, in terms of maybe getting their way of how they want to see that backline start dazzling and taking the ball forward. Because also, I think there's also a lot of, I don't know, when I look at Bowden Barrett, I think he's not a player that, it's almost like looking at the Sharks, for example. I don't know if this makes sense, but if you look at the Sharks with the caliber of players that they have, and then you have a coaching staff like a Plumtree and the other people that support him, that almost looks like the All Blacks in a way. But yeah, as you said, people are getting 2-year contracts and then they get assessed. If it's not working, they move on to the next person. Hugh, you wanted to share something? Then we'll move along to other topics in the URC.
Yeah, I think Jake makes a good point about how, and yourself, Scoop, make a good point about how assistant coaches change, and they do. We see other coaches go through assistant coaches a lot more quickly. I think I read this week that Steve Borthwick has just appointed his 17th assistant coach since being in the England job for 3 years. That's a real stat. That's a real stat.
16? No. 17? No. That no ace. What?
Yeah. They haven't all left, but they've all either left or changed roles, or just he's adding more on top.
Wow.
So, yeah. So this happens. I guess.
Wow.
What was this guy? What was Holland doing? He was
back. He took over from McDonald when McDonald left.
Okay, yeah, you'd have to say that it's not.
Even to go, he was the original backline coach, so he's backline coach, but not attack coach. So McDonald was the attack coach. So now, under Razor, they've lost basically 2 of the attack coaches in McDonald and Holland.
This kind of comes up with Borthwick as well. Is you get a lot of coaches with really similar roles. So you're saying attack coach and backline coach. Mm-hmm. There must be times where those guys step on each other's toes. There has to be. You know, maybe I'm just being oversimplified. Maybe I'm just being too old school and thinking, well, the backs is attacking things. But there has to be a time. If you have job roles that are that close, there must be times where they contradict each other at some point.
So basically, I mean, attack, for example, these are the guys that will probably look at your line-out launch or scrum launch. So, for example, if we have a line-out in a certain area, front ball attack would be someone jumping in the front of the line-out. We do either a maul to suck in the defensive players, or you have maybe sometimes you'll find there'll be an extra forward who acts as a scrum half, and the scrum half will come and join the backs. Maybe they'll peel off on the left or on the right and then set up a pod between maybe or in line with the first pole of the goalpost. So some people shape their attack based on the field and the poles and the 15-meter line, 5-meter line, etc. So maybe in terms of when we talk attack coach, then that's what they look at. They're working with the forwards, working with the backs to align on things. Maybe if it's a tail ball, for example, you know which areas they're going to attack. It's either they're going to attack quite close around the edge of the lineout, or they go wide very quickly and go on to the furthest edge to drag the team across the park and then bring it back with a nice shape with the pod. And then there's 3 players, and then you'll pass to the middle player, right? And he'll pass to the back, like what Ireland used to do with Johnny Sexton, right? So the guy will pass to the guy at the back, and they create a bit of a shape on attack in that sense. And then you'll get your backline coach who probably focuses on more of the skill level of the backs in terms of catching and passing, kicking, aerial skills are also part of it now. So it can be broken down into detail in that sense, but
surely
you all
by the
kind
time
of have
to test level for the All Blacks, there is a limited amount that you need to work on your catching and passing.
No, you have to work on catching and passing every week. There's no way of how do I say this? It's also called extras for some teams or players as well, right? So you have your fundamentals, basic structure for maybe 90 minutes, and then there's 30 minutes at the end that you guys can focus on your basic skills and catching and passing, etc., etc. Nines practicing their box kicking, etc. Other guys practicing their aerial skills and aerial bombs. So there's a lot of things that players are doing throughout each day, and every day will be stacked on different things on what they're working on, etc.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, jeepers, half an hour just on news alone. Let's jump into the URC. Maybe let's start with the Sharks and Scarlets, because your babies against Mpumelo's babies. It was a tough one. From what I saw, I mean, I don't know. It looked evenly balanced for me in that first half, with obviously a few breakaway tries from Scarlets. Sharks, speaking of shape, maybe at times it looks like they overplay, and they lose their shape once they overplay. Then you get like one ball carrier here, isolated in tackles, etc., or being held up, or pilfering, easy to pilfer rather. So there's a few of those things that I picked up. But I mean, there's a few players from the Sharks. It was good to see. I mean, from the Scarlets, good to see Lausi back as well, former Hurricane. But yeah, I mean, your thoughts, on the game. What are your thoughts about the Scarlets and obviously the Sharks? Kolisi needs to freaking get more ball carries, to be honest.
Yeah, but his try scoring form at the moment was absolutely incredible. Like, he's scoring a try every other game or more at this point. Yeah, I got a message during the game saying, "Is this a good game or a bad game with good tries?" And I think it was a lot of errors from both teams. I think in the second half, the Scarlets started to play some nice stuff, and I think that towards the end of the game, the Scarlets were the better team, but just no balls were going to hand. And the commentators were talking about like Durban humidity, which we know a lot about. You'd think that the Sharks would know how to play in Durban humidity, but clearly not.
They also had a break, right?
Yeah, they had breaks. Yeah, they had water breaks. That's good.
But yeah, it's summer in SA now, so it's probably gonna get very humid and very hot in Durban.
Yeah. So there was I think the Scarlets can take something from this game, but they're still bottom of the log with 0 match day points, which is not good enough. But I think they showed flashes in this game that they might be something they're working towards. But unfortunately, the thing that they're working towards is just where they were last season. So that's really frustrating. From Scarlett's point of view. From the Sharks, look, they got the W finally, which is what they were looking for. They managed to pick it up against the bottom side in the league. Still not.
Who gave them a run for their money?
Yeah, it still wasn't a good performance, though, I don't think. Etzebeth was quiet, I felt, in the Sharks jersey. I didn't feel like he was like he wasn't the kind of clearly the best player on the pitch that you would expect him to be. The Shitukas played well. I think both scored tries.
Yeah. I like both brothers, actually. I think Pepsi Buthelezi is going to have to work really, really hard to maybe leapfrog one of those brothers once they hit good form as well.
Yeah, and then I think Grant Williams looked lively as well. Andre Esterhazen looked hit and miss. Ethan Hooker's looked good. I think Ethan Hooker's probably been the best Sharks player overall since he's come into the team, to be honest. Can't think of him having a bad game. Apart from that, the scrum got on top when the Scarlets brought on their second choice props. The scrum really fell apart from the Scarlets' point of view. And that was kind of the story of the second half, was that the Scarlets would be playing the better rugby, getting the line breaks, getting the opportunities, fumbling the ball, and then the ball would go to ground and would be a scrum for the Sharks. The Sharks would get a penalty at scrum time and then clear the ball, and then reset, start again. So that's kind of the way the game went. So I would say that it wasn't a great game. There were some nice tries scored, but still, I think the thing with the Sharks is because of the personnel that they've got, they should. We judge them as they should be one of, if not the best team in the league, if not the whole of the Northern Hemisphere, and they're not.
Yeah. I mean, they had Esther Hazen and Luka Arm. I mean, who else do you want as your midfield pairing? You had Grant Williams at 9. I mean, they had Hooker on the wing, cheapest. Also, funny enough, they were supposed to start Masuku at 10, but Jay, do you know this Jean Smith kid? He was the guy playing 10 for the Sharks. I thought
the son.
Yeah. I thought he was quite decent in maybe a few times. He showed a few glimpses of nitty gritty, razzle dazzle here and there. But yeah, I think both Sharks and Stormers were using 2 different 10s this weekend, not their usual 10s. But I mean, I don't know, man. With the Sharks, it's a hard one to. It's a hard team to really analyze. It's a really tough team to analyze, and I don't know what needs to happen over there, but I'm hearing rumors and murmurs that heads are going to roll soon, and we will hear very soon and who will be people that will take over. But anyway, Jade, I don't know. Did you see the Scarlets and Sharks?
No, this is good.
Yeah. All right. Moving to the Blue Bulls. The Blue Bulls. Oh, man. So Warriors versus Blue Bulls yesterday. Also another game. I thought that was very tough, very tough contest. But at least Jake White has done one thing right. He's beaten the Warriors away from home. He can claim that. Ackerman hasn't. But the Bulls were leading, man, 12-7 for a while, I think until like the 65th minute of some sort. Warriors, when they start a game like a house on fire. Like a house on fire. The pace, the speed, the ruck speed is incredible. Because, I don't know, maybe you can check those first 10 minutes at what ruck speed these guys are using. The Warriors team is capable of, I think, even maybe 2 seconds at times, because they really blitz out or blow out the tackler, the blow out the pilfer or the jackler away from that ball, and the 9 has a very clean and secure ball to kind of pass as quickly as possible to his 10 or to the next pod that's ready to take up the ball. But yeah, man, the 4 weeks, there was, another thing, when I was watching that game, there was a lot of praise this past week regarding South African scrums and how well they've been doing. But obviously this past weekend, we saw maybe a few penalties or a few free kicks going against SA teams. Maybe the referees are also watching what we're talking about on Twitter, and they'll be like, hold my beer. But yeah, Tui Polotu dancing around the center pairing of the Bulls. Tui Polotu is unplayable at times. Good to see him back from injury. But yeah, Hugh, did you see Bulls and Warriors?
I did. I really enjoyed this one. I thought this was the game of the weekend in terms of quality. Of all of the rugby that I've watched this weekend, I thought this was the highest quality match. I think both teams had periods of the game where they were on top. I think both teams asked each other's questions, and both teams managed to find answers to those questions. There was a period, like you say, Steve, that the Bulls managed to get out in front, and Glasgow kind of had to figure it out. And there was the turning point in the game. Seems obvious to say, but the disallowed Curtly Aronson try. Great to see him back in the league. And him and Willie LaRue combining for an absolute worldie. Unfortunately, rightly called off for a knock-on. You'd have to say that I thought it was a good game. And I don't think that the Bulls should be too hard on themselves for losing this one, because I thought it was a close contest. And I think Glasgow were a very good team. And you asked the question about ruck speed. So Glasgow, 66% of rucks were below 3 seconds, which is
makes sense.
A lot, but not like you've never seen it before. So like Bordeaux against Bayonne yesterday was 75% below 3 seconds. But the difference is Bordeaux only had 48 rucks in the whole game. Okay. Glasgow had 146 rucks. So if you're talking about 146 rucks with 66% less than 3 seconds, the energy they're expending there on that is absolutely incredible. And I think that's kind of what Franco Smith has managed to get into this Glasgow team among other things, they're an extremely well-coached team. But the fitness that these guys have in that Glasgow team is extremely impressive. And that's probably what told the difference in the end. I think you'd have to say that, you ask me which is the fitter team, Glasgow or Bulls. I say Glasgow is arguably the fittest team in the whole URC.
Interesting.
So that's impressive. Like, if you talk about the ruck count, Bulls had 64 rucks in the whole game. So like 80 rucks fewer in this whole match. Bulls actually had 71% rucks below 3 seconds. But you're talking about, again, energy expended. So, I think for the Bulls, I feel like, the Bulls are 3 from 5, which isn't that bad. And if you look at the games that they've had, they had Leinster at home. Okay, they conceded a lot of tries, but they won it. So they had Ospreys at home again. First game up, Springboks weren't back yet. They conceded a lot of tries, but they still won it. You look at, they had a poor result out in Ulster, but I think if you look at that Ulster game, they brought all their Springboks back at once, and they would have had like one training session under Johan Ackerman, those guys.
Yeah.
And they lost that game. It was a poor performance. But you can kind of say first game on the Northern Tour, up in Belfast against an Ulster team that had momentum, and they crashed in all their box and it went wrong. They've then since gone and they beat Connacht just about, but they got the W. And then they played a very high quality game against Glasgow and come out second best. I would say, are they great? No. Are they the finished article? No. Is it panic station? No. I would say give it a good half a season, give it till 10 games before we really start judging this Bulls team properly, because they're not. They've got issues, they've got things to fix, but I don't think that they're in a bad place necessarily.
Yeah, fair enough. Jade, Hugh talks about a well-coached team. I mean, you are familiar with Franco when he was still like black in Bloemfontein. At Shimla's as well. I think he's done the Cheetahs once upon a time as well. I mean, his rugby style hasn't changed much in terms of he likes a team that has these blitz rucks, and also he creates a good shape on attack in terms of creating numbers, extra players, with a lot of these back passes happening to create extra overlaps or 2-on-1s, etc. But I mean, from your perspective, I mean, do you think this team playing at such pace now, they will manage to go all the way when we talk playoffs when it comes to the Warriors?
It's difficult for the Warriors because remember, I mean, what is the damage can happen later in the season? The toll will be on their bodies. Because I mean, a bulk of this team plays for Scotland as well. And I mean, what happens when they come from the Six Nations, I mean, you always refer to it and states that, the UFC really gets serious once the Six Nations is done. And we've seen it last year as well.
Yeah.
With teams like the Stormers, they paced themselves the last few weeks in the competition and really peaked in. So, I mean, you don't want to peak too early. You don't want to play your hand too early as well. That's why I always get this. I laugh when I look at the Bulls supporters online, slating Akkers at the moment. And I think to myself, it's a true knee-jerk reaction with this team. Give them a few more months, man. But in terms of the Warriors, in terms of Franco Smith, is he going to keep this intensity up? Is he going to keep the pace up like he's doing now? You can always just look at, a competition like, for example, like Super Rugby when they start. It's fast first until week 6. It's very, very quick. The speed is up there. And then slowly but surely, the teams starts to slow down. The kicking game comes in, and you see more of, the tactical, the dark art of the game as well, the slowing the game down. Does start to slow the game down. So whether Franco Smith is gonna keep up this continuity whole season, I don't know, because I mean he's gonna have to choose a big squad, especially once Scotland goes into camp now. He's gonna have to choose a lot of new players. Looking after them, juggling between the two competitions, because the Warriors really give the Championship Cup a go. Right? They're not like certain teams that don't. They play the second team. They really give it a go there. And I think he wants to go deep in there. Maybe he's thinking his goal for the season is a Champions Cup semi-final and then winning the UFC again. Maybe that's his goal for the season that he's set. So obviously you can have to look at rotating players. Does the players that's coming, the squad players, give them the same intensity, and tempo that they have when they're playing with the likes of Peter Latu and all of those guys. So, Yeah, there's a lot of coming to it. You and Uber stuff. Very difficult, to predict that how this team is going to cope for, the whole season. Are they going to keep that tempo up? But I mean, you can just take it week for week, and especially you can have a chance now. You get a few Finnish players, going on late into the competition. Also looking at once the Scotland players come back into his team again. I mean, how they also pick up an international duty, because then, international duty is a little bit slower. And I mean, if you look at Scotland's games, I think Scotland has the All Blacks, and I think they have Australia as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, how they gonna cope when they come back? What injury is gonna be there as well? So it's difficult to say. But Franco has his idea. That's what he's about. I mean, that's basically playing quick running rugby. That's basically what he's been accustomed to since he's playing there with the Cheetahs. That's what we've been learning this side. So yeah, let's see how it goes, people. Let's see how we can continue this. But I've got a feeling that teams will try to slow down the game. Teams will target him at the rough time to slow down the ball. And then we're going to have to see how he adjusts, and what does he do in terms of that.
No, fair. I mean, with Akkers, when it comes to the Bulls, there were times when I was watching that game when I thought, they're still missing a flanker, they're still missing a Hanekom, and the Sheriff as well. I mean, those guys, I don't know when they're coming back, but I mean, once those guys come back, maybe the Bulls will also still look a bit formidable. But I mean, South African players as well still come back, most of them after the Six Nations, because I think South African players also, or Springbok players that is, they also take a break during Six Nations to also kind of rest in this situation. But then after that, once Six Nations is done, then the real business of this competition kind of starts as well. But yeah, I think the Bulls still have a long way to go. They probably still need to get used to the way of Ackerman's coaching. And yeah, so it'll be good to see what Ackerman can bring into this competition with this current Blue Bulls team, which has played now back-to-back playoffs. So his target right now should be to make another playoff, at least semifinals, with the squad that he has and the players and the caliber of the players he has, with a lot of Springboks. Touch wood, obviously. I mean, there's lots of injuries in this game, but yeah, hopefully they can maintain a bit of fitness, like all the other South African teams as well. If everyone stays fit, it just makes the competition a bit better as well and nice and competitive. Because we know in Investec Championship, none of the South African teams are going to go as far as they probably want, because most of them will probably use like their B teams to travel, and it kind of becomes like a slapstick type of competition, which I really don't think South African teams are more interested in. They just want to probably win another URC title over the Investec Championship. Another team that's doing quite well and going at a very good pace at the moment, man. Looking at how they were not even with a Sasha Feinberg Ngomezulu in the team. Stormers looking very sharp. Very good set piece. We spoke about this last week as well, Hugh. But I mean, in a game, I think maybe a year or two ago, that game Stormers probably lose away in Italy, but they show some resilience. They show some character to also come back. I think when I mentioned also this young kid, Matthew as well at 10, he looked quite decent as well. Gave him good go forward. I think it also helped him as well with the fact that Willemse was his 12th. So yeah, I mean, it was a pity to see Sinatra walk off limping. Unfortunately, another injury. That's crazy, man. Sheesh. He's unfortunate at this point. But yeah, that forward pack is rumbling at the moment. Schickerling, they've got Jason Benson Dixon. Was it Jason Ben Dixon? What's his name? Ben Jason Dixon, man. What a circus. But nonetheless, I mean, I'm really happy about this forward pack. They really look like primetime Stormers when the inaugural URC took place. They had a very good forward pack back then, and it looks like it's the same mentality now going into. I mean, they didn't even have their frontline starters in that front row either, right? They gave some guys a chance as well, which is good for Dobo to kind of rotate that squad, because you want guys with some mileage on the legs at the back end of this competition. There's no point having people on the bench and not playing them in the toughest conditions of this competition, because it's easy for South African teams to win games at home, for me, I think. But the most difficult part is for South African teams taking 4 points or full house 5 points away from home. And if you can come back, let's say hypothetically you've got 3 away games, if you can come back home with at least 10 points out of that, or maybe 11 with a bonus losing point, that's very good. That's a job well done. But the Stormers unbeaten again this past weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, as we stand, you have to say that the Stormers are the best team in the URC. The results speak for themselves. 5-5 haven't really looked like losing any of those games. To say that out of those 5 games, 3 of them have been a Northern draw as well. You can't argue with that. Have they played the best opposition? They played Leinster first up. Leinster's team that sent to them was very decent, stronger than the one that played the weekend just gone. And they nils them. Now, first game of the season, you can maybe put that down to, but look, it happened. Can't argue with it. And I would say that what the Stormers are at the moment is consistent. I would say the thing that they've achieved, which is an achievement in and of itself, is that when you switch on the Stormers this season, you know what you're going to get. And is it 10 out of 10 rugby? No. Is it 9 out of 10 or even 8 out of 10 rugby? Maybe not. Is it 7 to 7.5 out of 10 rugby every single week? Yeah, I think it is. And that's getting the W's at the moment. You can't argue with it. And the defence is good. The set piece is more than solid. Guys, it's almost a little bit blue ballsy the way they're playing at the moment. In that it's a big forward pack and the backs are kind of just walking it over the line for very simple tries at the moment. So I know there's been a couple of razzle-dazzle ones, don't hate me guys, but what I'm saying is it's not complicated, it's consistent and it's reliable. And it's getting the job done. Like I say, the results speak for themselves, I think, on balance. First 5 games, they are rightly top of the lot.
Yeah, no, 100%. Jade, do you see them going all the way? That is the big question now, because the fans are talking. The people in Cape Town are talking. The people in Durban are scared. The people in Bloemfontein are scared. The people in Pretoria are scared.
I can see them winning the South African Conference. I can see them winning the South African Conference. If that's still a thing. Overall, winning the competition. This competition runs deep, bro. I mean, last year this time we were complaining about the Stormers, stating they have absolutely nothing. Their forwards was poor, their backs were carrying the ball. And ever since the Six Nations, this team just picked up. And they've got a real feel-good factor in their team now, It's a feel-good factor, feel-good attitude in their team. So I think they can ride this wave for as long as possible. Like you said, they haven't played the best opposition ball, maybe Leinster, who they smashed that on. Let's see what they do. When they start to play against the Munsters, the Warriors, teams like that, let's see what they do against the Bulls and the Derbies. Because, form goes out of the windows with the Derby. You play against the Sharks in the Derby, and then all of a sudden, Urban and Sia and those guys will play like Springboks, They play like Boks, and they'll bring their Bok form to that game. So, yeah, for me... ask me this question in February, March, and then I'll answer it. But now they should just ride this wave. They've got the feel-good factor. They're looking good. I mean, they've got a good set of locks, which they didn't have last year. I mean, they've got Murat, Smith, and Jerry Sickling there. They've got young props coming through. So they're looking okay and they're looking decent. And I mean, they've got depth, But also not that didn't play the weekend. We got injured the weekend. They've got a lot of depth to come into the squad. Yeah. So let's see how they go on this.
Oh, fair. What do you make of their forward pack dominance?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about it and we stated, they've gone back to basics. They've gone back to, really attacking the contact situation, attacking, being more physical up front, standing up, carrying stronger, making post-contact meters. They've gone really back to basics with it. And it really gives the front foot goal for those backs to razzle-dazzle. Although you said, we haven't really seen that much razzle-dazzle from them, because we know there's much, much more. With the likes of Sasha and Willemse and Holland, there's so much more they can give. They're basically, like you said, they're walking in tries at the moment. And it's been really showing improved about the fours that pull up the socks. They look much better carrying the ball. The guy, Jason Dixon, he's looking in the park and he's showing that form. Why Rassi selected him, even Roos who picked up his hand every week, he's been doing the simple things again, bro. Simple things, So
that was going to be my next question. About my goodness, he's showing up, man.
Yeah, he's showing up. He's been doing the simple things good. He's not the flashy things. He's really left behind. He's been carrying hard. His basics tackle rate is up there. What I like about even Rose this season is the involvement during the ruck, at ruck time. He's been really involved. He's been making a mess and been making a menace of himself at ruck time. And it's really been something.
Maybe that's what Rassi was looking for.
Yeah, his work off the ball is really picked up, and maybe but it's also scoop. When you also have somebody like what the kid's name at 6, the open side, the
yes, I see.
And he's out and out number 6. He's out and out number 6, a graft and nothing flashy. Really, in the mold of a people like we had in the past, like a Ruben Thorne, somebody like that, that you just go in and do their work. They won't be man of the match every week, but if they're not in the team, you see the difference. Corner Krieger, if they're not in the team, you feel the difference, you really feel it. But when they're on the field, they're not really going to win man of the match awards and stuff. So, I think the loose forward trio complements itself. I think that they got balance there, but I also think that, Evan Rose must be looking at that box team and saying, okay, they say I can't do this and that, but I'm going to show you, I can put in the audios, I can work off of the ball. I'm not just a battering ram. I'm not just somebody that's going to run across the field carrying the ball. I can do the simple things as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, let's see how they go. I would just like to see when they do rotate their team, when they do get injuries in key areas, how they do react to that. And when they do get their first disappointment in the season, how they're going to react to them. Because sometimes you get teams that do very good and they start like a house of fire, and once they get the first disappointment, the first bad result, and then things just don't click for them again. So let's see how they react once they get their first bad result.
I think Dobbo has created a good culture. He's been there now for 4 seasons with this team in this competition. So I would think, just thinking on a positive side, I would think that Dobbo has created a good culture, and you can see it in their faces, the energy of the team, right? You can sense it that these guys are really, really looking forward to the season, and they really want to take the season and go forward and make their city proud of Cape Town. Speaking of Roos, Hugh, I don't know, did you see Rassi's comments online on during the week? What do you think of coach maybe sharing that type of information about Hugh is a player, we can't pick everyone, he'll probably get his chance when his chance comes, etc. We've got very good 8s at the moment, and then someone was like, we only have Visa and Kwaka Smith, and you're looking at a player like Evan Roos. Come on, man, there's no competition there, But I mean, if I was a Roos and I'm reading that, I'm thinking to myself, come on, I should be in your team.
I don't know. I'm not sure Razzie's done anything wrong. He's chosen to be on social media. People have asked him a question. He's answered it. I think I think Razzie's just trying to manage the situation through positivity by, keeping praise on the player and trying to kind of de-escalate it that way.
Yeah.
To me, it's a bit of nothing. It's a bit of a storm in a teacup. I thought it was pretty well known that Rassie just doesn't like us and isn't going to pick him. So yeah, that's just kind of what I thought the situation was. But you could say, I guess the equivalent is if Razor was on Twitter. God, can you imagine? If Razor was on Twitter and someone asked him about substitution.
Oh, sheesh. Yeah. Fair.
Scoop doesn't even Roos remind you a little bit of a young Rassie Erasmus,
That's what I was. That's what I was thinking when Hugh was like,
that's
"Yeah, he
it's
handled
looking
it
at the
well."
way he plays. A little bit of a maverick, going
Yeah.
against the grain.
But then Rassie
not
doesn't
really
like.
out and out Lucy.
But then Rassie himself, he doesn't like the type of person he was under Nick Mallet, for example, because he was that type of guy, right? The arrogant, believes that he knows everything more than anyone, etc., etc. I mean, he shares all of this information himself, right? And then now you get an Evan Roos who kind of probably resembles all the things that he was when he was young, and now probably is kind of stuck when it comes to handling himself, for lack of a better way of putting this. But at the end of the day, guys, I mean, not everyone's going to get chosen, unfortunately. Evan Roos is a very good player. I'm sorry, but he's developed over the years as well. And looking at him now this season alone in the past 5 weeks, I would say he's really, really out and out the best 8 in the country at the moment. Even better than Visa for me. But obviously Rassie has his own preferences, and that's what we should take. Before we head off to the predictions for the first week of the Autumn Internationals 2025, Jade, NPC final played this past weekend. Mark Brown's boys made it all the way to the final. I mean, it was the first time since a very, very long time, actually. I think the likes of your Jeff Wilsons were playing when Otago played in the final. I mean, imagine Jeff Wilson and Tony Brown, who's now current All Black, Springbok tech coach. But so, I mean, for me, great contest, fast-paced game, beautiful weather. You had the mascots at halftime racing. It was carnage. But nonetheless, I mean, a guy like Lucas Casey, for me, still stood out as a 7, modern-day 7. Breakdown presence, ball carries, beating players, scoring tries again. Dylan Pledger, always there in support. He's a very good support player, this Dylan Pledger kid. Razor's talking about him being 76 kilograms. I was like, man, that has nothing to do with the price of cheese in China at this point. Just pick the kid. Let him go hold tackle bags. He'll learn just being in the group what it is to be part of an All Black team, what it is to prepare for a test match. Maybe he takes that information into his Super Rugby debut, for example, So, man, for me, I would have loved to see both these kids in that All Black squad. But going back to the final, Christian Leo Willie, outstanding performance. He's been the leader, actually, in terms of ball carries in this competition. Luckily, he's made it into the All Black XV as well. Umanga Jensen, very solid in midfield. Pity that he's also been carrying too many injuries. Jonah Nareki, Mr. Ever Present, good carries as well on the wing. Man, he was injured last week, but I don't know how he survived that shoulder injury, but he played full 80 this past weekend. But Canterbury in a final. That second half, they came back, guns blazing, took the lead, took the game away. Locks, that impressed me. I know, Jade, you like talking about New Zealand lacking some timber, tall players. Liam Jack was bloody good. I think he's the nephew of Chris Jack, if I'm not mistaken. Jamie Hanna was good. Will Tucker with Otago was good as well. But congratulations, man, to Canterbury reclaiming the Bunnings NPC 2025 by 36 points to 28. Did you see any standouts for you in this tournament? Not just the final itself, but who stood out and who do you think maybe Razor could have selected going into end of the year?
I think Scoop, you have to give prompts and credit to this tournament, I think it's been awesome. I've been all of the games. I mean, we've had numerous shields, changes, handovers during this whole tournament. I think Otago keeps the shield. I think they keep the shield. So if they won Saturday, they would have had a double. It's been the first time in a long time that the team has the double, win the NPC and keeps the shield. So I think overall, just to give a fair context of this tournament, Countess Monaco, the Steelers, they took the winners, Canterbury, to extra time. They took them to extra time. It was 15-all in the quarterfinals, and Countess ended 8th in the log. So it just shows, how competitive the season was.
I mean, you have guys from counties. I mean, Popoli said he had an awesome season. You mentioned Gardner and Gallagher, the 8 and the 6 from the Crusaders. Both of them actually can play lock, or made the name as locks. Playing 6 and 8 for the Crusaders. They've been brilliant. Shea Finaki of the Crusaders been good. Ledger, if you can go to the Steelers, you can go to the Bay of Plenty, your Aquays, your with the winger, like they've had a breakout as we see now. There's so many players that stood out. It's evident that there is a gap, between NPC and Super Rugby, but the Super Rugby players, really they put up their hand in this tournament. But you can see there's a few guys coming through. I mean, if you look at the Southland team, they had a few guys in there that it's gonna. You'll see them next year on the Super Rugby in the Super Rugby campaign. I mean, Michael Mason that you're raving about, the winger.
Yeah.
How quick is that guy? Surely one of the quickest players in the world. He's rapid.
I think
And
he's got a
we'll see
contract. I
now.
saw from Chalen that apparently got a contract with Sevens, actually.
The Sevens.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's actually good for him, but he's rapid. So if you're looking at it like that, Scoop, it's been a very good competition. I mean, I love seeing games at smaller stadiums. I mean, when the games played it in the, down at the Bay of Plenty, Taranaki, it's been what's up.
Not at Ellis Park with the Lions, eh?
Yeah, but at Manawatu with the KFC buckets on the head in green, all of that. It's really been a nice competition. I mean, it's really a joy to wake up in the morning and watch it. And also the package, I must give it to New Zealand Rugby. The package, the highlights package that was available on YouTube, it's really accessible. You could really get a clear indication of the game. What that 12, 15-minute highlight package that was there. Even though you missed a few games. But yeah, overall a good competition. Really, really good competition. It shows you that there is still a lot of talent in New Zealand rugby, despite what people say. I really enjoyed it. I think it's really, in terms of provincial competitions and out-and-out provincial competition, I think is one of the best competitions in the world in terms of that. I'm not stating in terms of quality of play or something to say. If you compare it to the Curry Cup, for example, I think it's better than the Curry Cup at the moment in terms of product. However,
I mean, not a lot of countries have a lot of these domestic comps.
Yeah. I think Wales also have a lower tier provincial competition as well, below. But I mean, if you're looking at the NPC, the way it's run as well. It's just sad that next year it won't be that good because you're going to look at it having about 40 odd to 50 guys on tour.
Yeah,
in South Africa, So I don't think it'll be that strong next year. I think it'll be a little bit of a weaker competition next year because of the tour to South Africa, the New Zealand tour to South Africa.
Gives other kids an opportunity.
Yeah, there's some murmurs and the rumors that the Maoris will also tour South Africa next year. That's also been in the pipeline or something that they say. Yeah, they also said something like that,
They must go and play Border and Eastern Province,
Something like that, yeah. So, Scoop, at the end of the day, we're looking at this competition. It was a good success, big success. This competition was determined. What was it? Not fit for purpose. What's the correct word? By New Zealand Rugby a few years ago.
Yeah, that was fit for purpose. What is it? It was fit for purpose.
No, but they said it's not fit for purpose because they had a big interest in terms of the NPC. But I think, this turnaround is a very, very good competition. I would have loved Otago to win. But I just think, the wind on the day, I think that win with Otago was just absolutely terrible, for them to play in it. Remember, Otago plays in a stadium where the wind doesn't really have any effect in that closed stadium, So they weren't really used to playing that massive wind that they had. And I think Canterbury at the end of the day just proved it was very difficult to beat a team in the red and black in the final.
Fair. Now, jumping into the week that we're heading into. Oh, English is on my mother tongue, guys. You'll forgive me. Autumn Internationals 2025. Hugh Griffin, England, Australia on Saturday, 3 p.m. Allianz Stadium, Twickenham. Ooh-wee. This is going to be a tough one. What are your thoughts? Who's taking it? After Australia, mind you, came close against Japan this past weekend.
Scraped it
2 weeks ago.
Didn't they? Absolutely scraped it.
What a mess, man. 2 weeks ago, Australia A put 70 on Japan, which had similar players that played last week or yesterday. and then Australia only. Oh, come on, I don't understand what's going on there. But nonetheless, England versus Australia on Saturday. I think England might take this one.
I think England might take this one as well. Australia have the advantage of coming into it as basically a club side, having played the Lions and the Rugby Championship and this game against Japan.
Yeah.
Like you can always call the Japan game a warm-up game, but they have like the Rugby Championship only just finished, so they don't need another one.
Literally.
It's been a long old season for Australia already, hasn't it? They had Fiji before the Lions as well, so they've already played, 11 games with and the year tour's not even started. No, 12 games already, and the year tour's not even started. Anyway, so Australia have that advantage of continuity, of already being in the groove, you would think. But it's England up to a kind of Australia. When was the last time Australia beat England? Long time ago.
Last year.
Did they? Oh yeah, they did. They did. Yeah.
That last minute try, Jorgensen.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're missing. I think they're missing. They're going to miss Skelton. I don't think Skelton's going to play.
Yeah, Skelton's out of the window, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, and
can Ikitau and Ogwana play? Because that's out of the window.
I'm not sure. I don't think they can play either. So it's going to be a weakened Australian team, to be honest.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I don't see them beating England.
No, for me, I think, and Twickenham for England is a 12-point head start.
Actually, I want to see who are the referees this weekend as well, because it's going to be very, very interesting to see who's going to be in charge of that game. And then we've got South Africa, the Springboks against Japan. Jade.
Answer it. I'm not. No, bro, it's South Africa by 30 plus, easy.
30 plus. Eddie Jones is coming out saying, hey, a win over the Springboks at Wembley next Saturday would be iconic and it would go down in history alongside the Coldplay concerts. They're playing in Wembley.
They're playing in Wembley. What's up with the boxing playing in England so much?
Money.
They should have played the game in Brighton, maybe something could happen.
Yeah. Actually, that's where the game should have been played. Brighton in England. Then we would... and actually, it's 10 years since that Brighton upset.
Yeah.
So,
the Battle of Brighton.
Actually, the Battle of Brighton, bring it again, bring it back, would be great. But I don't see Japan troubling the South Africa on this one. Scotland and the USA, I don't see Scotland losing this. I don't see USA troubling Scotland.
It should be 17 for Scotland. Scotland should be 17.
Yeah, but their coach is busy sitting on the sideline against for Newcastle Red Bulls instead of preparing for test matches.
I think I could coach in Scotland through 17 USA.
Jesus. And then the big one. I think the biggest game, England and Australia. And then after that, Ireland and New Zealand. Both teams are already settled in America at the moment, Jade. I think Killian Doris comes back in this game. He hasn't played a lot of football in these past 9 months.
No, he hasn't played any.
Hasn't played any football.
Do you think the coach, what's his name? What's Farrell's dad's name? Do you think Farrell then will give him a shot?
Farrell,
yeah. It is. Do you think he'll give him a shot to start him in a game like the All Blacks?
I think he'll go safe with Jack Conan and Ryan Byrne and other. And on 6, I think he'll do that. Maybe Doris from the bench. I think he'll do that. For now, I think Ireland have too many injuries at the moment. McCarthy's out, Keenan's out. Ringrose and Henshaw's doubts.
Ringrose.
Yeah, and what's the guy's name? Hansen is out on the wing. So they've got a lot of injuries, and also they'll be a little bit undercooked. Playing against New Zealand, they'll be undercooked. I don't think.
But they toured, most of them, no?
Yeah, most of them. A lot of them have toured. They have toured, but they've got a lot of injuries. And you can just look at their squad. I don't think they're gonna have the most, the best end of year or could shoot end of year income door. I don't think Ireland will be the best because they've got quite a lot of injuries. In the first test against New Zealand, I think they'll be undercooked. I don't think they might trouble New Zealand in certain aspects, but I think the All Blacks will meet it on at the end of the day. I don't think, I don't think I think they wanted to them short before playing the All Blacks, in Chicago, But obviously, if you're looking at, the aim of this game was basically to give the US a taste of what's to come in 2031 with the World Cup there, and also, the marketing aspect of the All Blacks with the Silver Lake deal and everything going to the US, every year also. So yeah, I understand why they're playing there, but for me, I don't think Ireland will beat the All Blacks the weekend. I think they'll be undercooked. I would love to hear what you say about this.
No, yeah, I agree. I think Ireland will be undercooked. I think you look at how the top players have played for Leinster when they have played, which is very much. They look at 50%. I think that despite all of what's the word I'm looking for here? Despite all the questions that there are still hanging over Razor's All Blacks team, I think that Ireland are a kind of team that will suit them in terms of how they play. I don't think Ireland are going to ask them hard questions that they're going to really struggle to find answers to. And I think just that little bit more, again, exactly like I said for Australia, being in the groove already for New Zealand, I think that's going to make the difference. These Irish guys to have had time off and played a few provincial games and helping them play and apply to a USA. I just don't think that's going to set them up for success. I know they've done it before, but I'm not feeling it this time.
No, fair. Do you think then Australia, South Africa, and New Zealand are coming into this end of the year tour hot? Hugh?
Yeah, 100%. That's why the Southern Hemisphere teams always kind of overperform in November. It's because they come in hot, whereas the northern teams are coming in cold. So that has a massive effect on the results.
Oof. Jeez. I mean, Ireland, I know that's one team I thought would trouble maybe the Springboks for me. But now with all these injuries, Rusty's nemesis, Andy Farrell, he's gonna cop one against Rust at this when they meet, or do they meet in this series?
Yeah, they meet in 2 weeks time.
Oh, fireworks! You were gonna say something, Jade?
Yeah, no, when I look at this end of year too, I like it. I like this window, this month, because the South goes to the North with their full strength teams. I know there's a lot of blame when the North comes to the South on fatigue. It's been a long season, because sometimes we look at it and say, yeah, but that's also we're at the end of our season now. But I must tell you, especially I can't really state so much for Africa, but because they're a little bit different. They follow the North's calendar. But if you look at New Zealand, Australia, going overseas every year, traditionally, it's a long season. However, when the North come down to the South end of the year, they see longer. They've got a lot much more to be. So for me now, I really like this, because you can see everything is great. Although certain teams are undercooked, but after week 3 or week 4, you really see teams get into this ride, and you really see some good test matches. Compared to what we do get, in June, with the June-July series, where the Northern Hemisphere teams send weekend teams over because of injuries, because of the season being long and everything. So yeah, I really look forward to this month's scoop. For me, it's a lekker month. And also, you get the likes of Fiji and, those teams, Argentina, also playing, overseas, and also playing the likes of Wales and Scotland. And,
it's like a mini World Cup without a
mini World Cup in a month. Yeah, it's like a day you can just have a Saturday. You can just watch from 3 in the afternoon until France plays at night. You can watch all of the games. It just leads into each other. It's actually good.
You?
Yeah, no, agree. There's going to be a lot to talk about. It really dominates it, because absolutely everybody's playing all at the same time. So you can't get away from it. There's always, there's no room to kind of have an interesting conversation about this, that, or the other. It's, everybody in rugby is going to be talking about the same thing for 5 weeks. 5 weekends in November this year. So yeah, there's going to be non-stop. It's going to be hectic.
Oh, it's going to be a long month for work. No? 5 weekends, 5 weeks of sheepless. 1 month, man. One of those long, and also it's dark quite early. The sun only comes out at like 9 a.m. Oh, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be cold. It's gonna be raining. Training in the rain. But nonetheless, guys, I think that's it for today. We've had plenty to chat about. I think we've broken it down nicely. And yeah, looking forward to top series. My goodness. How I've missed you, international foodie. Thanks, Jade. Thanks you, and thanks to the listeners as well. You will find the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Pod, and also you can listen to this on our Twitter X feed. It will be on the timeline at Rugby Scoop on X on Twitter if you prefer. But yeah, thanks guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. Jade, go finish off the plates, and I'm sure there's a quarter of that Avanti left now. But you gardening. Not ideal in these conditions, but yeah, enjoy the rest of the Sunday, guys. Good night.
Thanks, guys.